Hey guys! Today I wanted to do a realistic 10-minute makeup tutorial for you guys. I've seen this going around a little bit where people are like, this is my real 10-minute face and things like that. And I thought it would be really good to show you because this is realistically on a day-to-day basis what I wear all the time pretty much. This is kind of my go-to look when I just need to get out the door and take care of business, but I just need to look presentable but not overdone. So I just want to show you, it realistically does take me about 10 minutes every day to just get it right. So this video might be a little longer than 10 minutes, but for me it is very much a 10-minute makeup routine. And then even with that being said, there's still more I can take away from this and make it a 5-minute makeup routine and make it the quickest makeup routine of life with the least amount of products. So if you want to see something like that, I can bring that to you as well. Let me know in the comments below. Alright, so I zoomed you guys in so you can see a little bit better what's happening. If you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking in my mirror to do my makeup. So the first step is I start with eyes. I like to start with eyes because if there's any fallout that happens, you can easily wipe it away and you're not redoing your foundation and concealer and spending more time and product by doing that. So basically, my go-to, rest in peace, is the Urban Decay Naked 1 palette, which I did actually go and get the second to last palette in one of my closest Ulta stores. By the time I had gotten it, it was a few days after it was announced that that they were getting rid of them. So luckily I got another because, as you see, it's a well-loved palette of mine. This is honestly my favorite of the Naked palettes because I really like the warm tones versus the cool tones in the Naked 2 on my skin tone. And yeah, it's just super easy. So first I'm taking Urban Decay Primer Potion and going to prime my eyes because I personally can't skip this step. I have really oily eyelids, so if I skip this step, my eyeshadow will not last and it will look super creasy super fast, and it will not be a cute situation. So eyeshadow primer is not a must for everybody, so that's kind of based on you personally. For me, can't go without it. Alright, so you're gonna see how simple this is. So, I'm going to take a fluffy blending brush in the Naked color, the lighter matte brown. And this is just gonna be my crease shade. So I'm putting this all in my crease, a little bit on the outer V, but it's just kind of that light lay down, doesn't have to be perfect crease color. No matter what kind of look you're going for, it's always a good idea to have that kind of initial crease color so that it can make the darker ones that you put in afterwards easier to blend out. Okay, so literally that's it. And then I'm going to take just a regular flat eyeshadow brush. I go back and forth. I really like Virgin because it's a really light shade. It brightens up the eyes. It makes them look more awake. But I also really like Toasted because I feel like it just looks extremely natural on me. I have slightly darker eyelids to begin with. So I've been reaching for that one lately. I'm personally going to go into Toasted. This kind of depends on how your eyelids naturally look. But I really like to go with a shade that either is going to brighten them or looks like my lids. I mean, yes, it's shimmery now, so it's not exactly my lid color, but you get the gist. So that's just on my eyelid up until my crease starts. So I'll do one of two things. I will either stop here, I'll probably put a little bit more of Naked just to make it a little bit more, and then I'll blend it out some more, or I will go in with Buck, which is this. This is the slightly darker matte brown shade in the palette with the same fluffy blending brush because we're just trying to get an easy look out the door. We're not trying to spend like super long amounts of time, you know, making it the most sculpted look. And this will go, again, in the crease and in the outer V a little bit. So this will just darken it up a little bit versus if you leave it as just Naked, it's a little bit lighter and a little bit more natural. So it kind of depends on what you're going for that day. If you want the most natural that you can possibly get, or you want a little bit more. Alright, so Because I'm using a fluffy blending brush to apply, it's also important to take another brush and blend this out. So that's where I'll go with my MAC 217. This is not as fluffy. It's a little more dense and a little shorter hairs. And I like to just take this, it's a clean brush, and just take it on the outer edges. Blend it all out, buff it out. Because again, even though we're making this not super duper perfect, we don't want it to look too messy. And we want it to flow. Sometimes I'll go back and forth with the brushes, put a little bit more color, blend it out a little bit more. But again, you can completely skip the second crease color and you can just go fly out the door. So that's all I'm doing for the eye part. Now this is when I move on to the face. So first I'm taking the Too Faced Hangover RX primer. Just putting that all over my face. It's a really good base. It's hydrating, but it doesn't make you more oily. It's really smooth and it helps your makeup last. If you have a coconut allergy, you cannot use this because it has coconut water in it, FYI. But, and also if you got any fallout, for me, these eyeshadows don't really create a lot of fallout, but if you use more sparkly shades or a different palette, and get more fallout, you're gonna need to clean with a makeup wipe prior to putting on your face makeup, obviously. So now it's time for foundation. So right now I've been loving the Becca Skin Love Weightless Blur Foundation. I should probably do a review on it. It came out a few weeks ago and I have the lightest shade. I actually got slightly tan at the beach this past weekend, so I probably am like a shade down technically now. So I'll just warm it up with bronzer. But other than that, really nice foundation. So I just take this, put it all over my face. As you see, I put on my beauty blender and then I dot it all over and then I go to blend it out with the beauty blender. I have been obsessed with exclusively using a beauty blender for my foundation and concealer, probably for like 2 years now. I tend to go back and forth. I know like over my years of YouTube, I would be like, you know, the Sigma F80. There was a time when that was the thing. And then Beauty Blender would always make its way back, and I just kind of haven't gone back. So you can use a foundation brush if that's what you prefer. I just really prefer the Beauty Blender. So I really like this foundation because it has not super full coverage. It's kind of light to medium coverage. It's buildable. That's my jam. I like my skin to still breathe and look like skin through it. I'm not super about the full coverage. Concealer, I like full coverage, but not foundation. So again, this is kind of, you know, take this all with a grain of salt. You can switch out products as you see fit. I'm just kind of giving you the basis of how I go about this. Alright, so that's my foundation. So now I'm using the Too Faced Born This Way New Concealer. This is the Big Mama Jamma. And now this is the full coverage that I was talking about. Just because I really like full coverage under my eyes because I have dark under eye circles, and then I kind of spread it throughout my face a little bit too. So, I'm gonna bring the mirror up in case you're wondering, just because I like to have my head up for this. So, kind of spread it in a V shape so that you lift your eyes. It brightens them, and then I make it go out to like the temple area, so it kind of is a 2-in-1. It cleans up the outer edge of your eyeshadow to make it more crisp, and it lifts and brightens your under eye area. And then I just kind of put it a little bit on my nose, my chin, forehead. I just kind of bring it a little bit in that T-zone area. Oh my gosh, I feel like my voice sounds really raspy. The past few weeks, guys, I don't know what it is. I think it's the crazy New England weather. I think it's the allergies and all that stuff. But, girl, my voice has been raspy for weeks. Alright, so, side note, I know. So, I really like this concealer. I also have to do a review on this concealer. This came out probably more like a month or so ago at this point, at least. And it's kind of the competitor to the Tarte Shape Tape. But I'll tell you more about that in a review. So, Now, I like to set my eyes with translucent powder. So, I like this Real Techniques, what is this, setting brush for setting the under eyes. So I'll take some translucent powder and just set it like that. Make sure your concealer is very well blended so it doesn't get creasy and accentuate fine lines and stuff like that. But that's the under eye part. And then I enjoy this Mineral Fusion Neutral 2 powder. Watch this. You can tell I really enjoy it, right? So I'm taking this Real Techniques blush brush. This is a really good powder brush. I know it's a little confusing, and I'm just brushing powder all over. Now, this is one of those steps you can kind of change up. If you are very dry, you may want to avoid powder altogether. I am more on the oily side, I'm combo, so right now I'm a little more oily, so I really like to set with powder, just to lock it all in place. It also has a bit more coverage, a bit more color. So now I'm going to curl my lashes and go in with some mascara. Right now I'm using the Voluminous Lash Paradise from L'Oreal. This is supposedly the dupe to Better Than Sex mascara from Too Faced, which I also have not tried it yet. So I'm probably going to try it after this to see how it goes, but I like to have one mascara open at a time so that, you know, they go bad the quickest, so I don't want to waste money and product. But anyway, so I'm going to put this on the lower lashes and the top lashes. I like doing this because I skip liner. I don't do any on the top or bottom. Sometimes if I'm really feeling it, I'll put like a little eyeshadow on the bottom. But again, this is like my daily just get out the door routine. So I like to put mascara on the lower lashes so that they're still a little bit accentuated. Alright, so sometimes I will go back in and I will take Virgin from the Naked palette and just brighten up the inner corner a little bit, like so. Sometimes honestly I'll forget. So, you know, it's neither here nor there. Now this is when I'm going to take Too Faced Chocolate Soleil Bronzer with a fan brush and do a little contour / warming up of the face. Normally it's more of a contour for me, but it's a little bit of warming up the face now that I got a little bit tanner. So I just don't want to look like too pasty compared to my body. Now, sometimes I will use a blush and a highlight, but I really like this. This is Shell Pearl Beauty Powder from MAC, and I like this because it creates a really nice glowy blush. So it's a 2-in-1 product. So again, if you gotta get out the door, we're looking for easier and quicker. So for me, it's a really nice blush, and just every day, not too intense, and then it creates that little bit of highlight effect, so I don't have to use a separate highlight. And then I like to take my powder brush with no extra product, just whatever's on it, and I like to go over those real quick to blend them together so there's no harsh lines. And lastly, I do my brows. So I use the IT Cosmetic Brow Power Universal Eyebrow Pencil in Universal Taupe, and I'm just gonna fill in my brows. I take the other side and I'm gonna brush them out. In the very last step, I'm going to take Skindinavia setting spray and just set my whole face so it lasts all day and it doesn't get cakey or look powdery or anything. You might see I didn't actually do a lip color. In reality, this is how I go out into the world. So usually the reason I don't do a lip color a lot of times is because I'm usually going to a meeting where I'm going to be eating or drinking, or I'm just going back to back and I'm not thinking about touching up my lips. I am not a big fan of long wear lipsticks, liquid lipsticks. My camera rudely turned off. I was saying how I like this lip color because it's like my lips but better. It's a little bit shinier and it doesn't add too much color, but it's a little something. So that's the lip color that I really like using just for every day if I'm going to use something. So that was my realistic 10-minute makeup routine. This is literally what I do almost every single day. Every now and then I'll change it up and I'll break out another eyeshadow palette, or I'll switch out the foundation or the lip color or something. But on the day-to-day, it's always these steps. And this is just what gets me ready, gets me presentable, and natural looking, flawless looking, and out the door, and ready to do my thing. So this is a really good routine for anyone just looking to you know, speed up their morning routine, kind of skip some steps, but still look really presentable and nice. And so I hope it was really helpful. I will list all the products and goodies I use down below if you're interested in learning more about them. But other than that, you are more than welcome to use what you already have and just, like I said, you know, switch things out. If you like the Naked 2 better than the Naked 1, go for it. If you like Too Faced Shadow Insurance better than Urban Decay Brand Promotion, go for it. Whatever floats your boat, just kind of follow these steps and it'll get you ready super quick every time. Also, if you're a beginner, don't get discouraged. It may take you a little bit longer to get used to this, but as you start doing it more, you'll get faster each time you do it, and you'll pick up the pace and you'll be at the 10-minute face in no time. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you like these videos, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.